Our productions in the world of women's sport have been our most successful. We've had women's sport documentaries acquired by Netflix, Amazon, ITVX, and also had our largest ever commercial campaign in the world of women's sport. So let us show you why the world of women's sport is such an exciting area for content production. Today I'm off to Bath Spa University for a great event they're doing to encourage production companies to create more women's sport content. My own personal women's sport content journey started back at university in 2012, volunteering for the Loughborough Lightning netball team. And at that time, it wasn't really a conscious decision to support women's sport. It was more just the fact it was a great opportunity to gain more experience and to advance my own career. Back in 2012, this voluntary netball project was all about gaining more coverage and exposure for women's sport. And especially at that time, telling people that you worked in netball and women's sport got a few eyebrow raises and also garnered the classic responses of, oh, that's nice, but is that actually going to help your career? Spoiler alert, yes, it would. And the main goal of the panels today are to really dispel those classic myths around women's sport and show the true value that it offers. Fast forward to 2021, we meet women's rugby player Victoria Rush, who wants to make a documentary on the realities of being a female rugby player, constantly having to battle misogynistic attitudes in society, leading to women's rugby being denied funding, opportunities to grow, and just general media attention and interest. But from a filmmaker's perspective, these obstacles and challenges make for great stories. In men's sport, your jeopardy is largely going to come from, will my player or team win or lose? But in women's sport, as it continues to develop and grow, there's many more deeper levels of storytelling that you can get into. These players are not only striving for results, but in many cases they're fighting for professional contracts, trying to get their games on TV, and to make real societal change so that things are better for the next generation. Our women's rugby documentary, No Woman, No Try, ended up becoming an Amazon Prime exclusive, and it's the incredible stories of players who feature in the documentary, such as Shauna Brown and Steph Evans, which gave it such great storytelling potential. And it was also around this time that you could feel momentum really start to shift and change in the world of women's sport. There's a real wealth of untold stories in the world of women's sport, and while many of these sports are working hard to reach their full commercial potential, there's still a level of accessibility to the athletes who may never have had a chance to tell their story before. And this creates a really perfect situation where you've got a passionate and motivated subject with a deep and multi-layered story to tell, and also who's looking for an outlet and a place to share their story. If there's one major takeaway from today's event, it's definitely that there's this collective unity between all of those working in women's sports. There's this collective understanding that a rising tide lifts all boats, and everyone in the industry is going to benefit from the continued progression. And the moment that changed everything, at least for us here in the UK, was when the Lionesses won the Euros on home soil. Fortunately for us, that summer we were documenting many sports events as part of a wider documentary on women's sport with lifelong women's sport advocates who answered this. The Lionesses' victory formed the pinnacle moment of our documentary, which was acquired by Netflix the following year. And because businesses are starting to realise the untapped potential in women's sport, you're seeing more and more commercial opportunities for production companies. In a very full circle moment, our largest ever commercial campaign happened to be in netball and was for a bank that was activating their sponsorship ahead of the 2023 Netball World Cup. There's an abundance of women's sports stories that are yet to be told, and I'm not just talking about following every single team for a season-long documentary. If you're looking for real human interest stories, the world of women's sport is full of them. Whether it's players and teams fighting to survive financially, players having to balance full-time jobs alongside their sport, getting specific equipment, research or coaching, or even having to balance motherhood alongside their sporting career, as we followed in our latest documentary, Abbey Ward, A Bump in the Road for ITVX. These are all obstacles and challenges specific to the world of women's sport that make for great story points. It's not just about documenting the wins and losses. Long story short, if you're thinking about creating women's sport content, the best time to start was 10 years ago. The second best time is right now.